Hi everyone, my name's Andy. I lead City Church here in Bristol. Thanks for joining us on another one of our City Dailies today. I want to read to you a parable that Jesus told. When we read about this parable in Luke chapter 18, and just the first few verses, I'll read it to you now. And Jesus told his disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up. He said, "In a certain town there was a judge who neither feared God nor cared about what people thought. And there was a widow in that town who kept coming to him with a plea, 'Grant me justice against my adversary.' For some time he refused, but finally he said to himself, 'Even though I don't fear God or care about what people think, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will see she gets justice, so she won't eventually come and attack me.' The Lord said, 'Listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he will see they get justice, and quickly. However, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth?'" Now, Luke helps us with this parable because he starts the parable by telling us what it's about. A parable is usually a short story with really one clear meaning, and you can read too much into a parable. It's a story that would have grabbed the attention of the hearers because usually it was a context or in a context or a situation, or the story would have been very familiar to the hearers. So sometimes Jesus would talk about a man who had sons or a farmer who had a field, and here it's about a judge, an unjust judge. And these hearers would immediately have thought, yes, I know that situation. I've heard of that, or I've been involved in something like that. And as he grabbed their attention, he would make one spiritual point. And as I said, Luke helps us by telling us what the point is of this parable. He says, this is the point. The parable is to show us that we should always pray and not give up. So that's, in one sense, the point of the parable. But let's look at what persistent prayer actually does in us and for us and through us, just with four simple points. Firstly, persistent prayer reminds me who is in control. You see, if the things I pray for immediately happen, then I could easily feel as if somehow I was doing it, or as if it was just my right. And actually, the fact that I have to come back and again and ask God for things that don't seem to be changing, and I know I've experienced that in the last few months, and I'm sure many of us have, and I'm sure we do through our lives. But it reminds me God's in charge and I am not. And humility is a big part of prayer. Coming to God and asking for things, coming to the creator of everything and asking him to change things is a huge part of what prayer is. It's reminding myself, I can't do these things. These are things I have no control over. And yet I'm asking for God's help. So it reminds me who's in control. Secondly, persistent prayer draws me close to God. When I come back again and again with my pleading and my requests day by day, I'm drawing close to him. And the Apostle Paul himself, he said, look, I asked a number of times for something to be removed for him. He said there was a thorn in his flesh that he asked to be removed, but it wasn't. And he had to come back and recognize God's greatness and God's goodness. And it drew him and it draws us close to God. And God loves that. He loves us to talk to him. He loves us to be in fellowship, in relationship with him. And so persistent prayer draws me close to God. Thirdly, persistent prayer reminds me I'm in a battle. And the Christian life is a battle. It's not like a battle, it really is one. We are fighting against an enemy who hates us. The enemy, the devil, he hates you. He hates that you believe in God. He hates the fact that you worship Jesus. And we are in a battle. We shouldn't shy away from the truth of it. And part of the weapons of this battle, a huge part of that is prayer. And we come again and again and we ask for God's help and intervention, and we must continue to do that. And so persistent prayer reminds me that I'm in a battle. And persistent prayer, finally answered, makes me very thankful. See, if I just pray and it happens, and I pray and it happens, I can feel as if, it's just how it should be. It's just my right. Whereas actually, it's a real privilege and honor for God to answer us. And so persistent prayer, when it's answered, it reminds me to be thankful. It reminds me, Lord, thank you. That was a battle that you won, that we won together. Now, there is a mystery to prayer, there's no doubt about it. Why doesn't God just do the things that he's going to do anyway? But he loves to engage us in the process. We are co-heirs, we are partners with him to do his work, to bring about his kingdom in the earth, and persistently praying for God's kingdom to come, for his will to be done, as it says in the Lord's Prayer, is part and parcel of us being partner and partnering with God in that battle. And so that's this parable, that's what it means, that's part of what it means. And I want to encourage you to persistently pray, to come to God daily again and again and ask for his intervention in your life, in the life of those you love, and especially to ask, Lord, let your kingdom come. Thanks for listening. God bless you through another day.